The tightening walls. The rain was coming down hard outside, streaking across the windows of the small house like bars on a prison cell. Inside, though, it was all cake and candles, a cheerful little bubble with laughter and streamers, bouncing in time to the sounds of a 12-year-old girl's birthday. The girl was my kid's sister, Hannah, and she had a grin that could warm even a guy like me. Yeah, things were good right now. It was just my luck then, right? That sudden little itch at the back of my head that wouldn't leave me alone. A quiet little voice saying, Migakori, you've missed something, something important. And that's when I remembered my meds. Yeah, I'd forgotten them again, but that was easy enough to brush off, for now anyway. But as soon as I tried to brush it away, a faint unease crept in, inching up my spine, an itch I couldn't scratch. I told myself it was nothing. I could push through for a few more hours, make it through the night, and everything would be fine. Only that voice, that itch, was starting to grow teeth. It began with a feeling, like something was off kilter, just enough to make me squint suspiciously at the walls of the old house. My eyes darted from one corner to the next, the colors of Hannah's decorations swirling into something darker, something heavier. The walls were closing in. At first it was just a hunch, something barely noticeable. But before long I could see it happening, inch by inch, creeping closer, like they had it in for me. I knew it was the meds, knew that this was nothing but a product of the gaps they were supposed to patch up in my mind. But I couldn't shake it. The walls pressed forward, leaning in, their intentions as clear as a black cat crossing your path on a foggy night. My fists tightened, knuckles going white, and I forced myself to stay seated. Hannah noticed me fidgeting. She always did. She looked up, that innocent smile slipping into something like concern. Migakori, are you okay? She asked, and the way she said it cut through me. I plastered on a grin, but even I didn't buy it. I'm fine, kiddo. Just tired. It's been a long day. She laughed, that little trill that used to pull me back from the brink whenever things got dark. But today, even that couldn't cut through the fog closing in on me. The walls. They were so close now, I could almost feel them breathing on the back of my neck. Nobody else seemed to notice. They were all busy fussing over Hannah, oblivious to the fact that any minute now, these walls would crush them all. Crush us all. I swallowed hard, a lump of something sour sitting in my throat. I couldn't just sit there and watch as the room shrank down to nothing, trapping us inside. I had to do something, and it had to be big. That's when the thought hit me. Desperate, wild, but maybe just wild enough to work. Use your head, it whispered. And I mean that literally. My head, the heaviest part of me, the one thing I had that might be enough to stop these walls from closing in. A thrill of purpose shot through me. I got up, the chair scraping against the floor loud enough that the whole room turned to look. My old man's eyebrows knitted into a frown. My mother's hand hovered halfway to her mouth, but it was Hannah's eyes, round and wide, that nearly stopped me cold. Migakori? She asked, her voice soft and uncertain. It's fine, Hannah, I mumbled. But I was lying to her and to myself. It wasn't fine, and it wouldn't be until these damn walls backed off. I turned, braced myself, and threw myself headfirst at the closest wall. The impact was like hitting a slab of concrete, cold and unyielding. Pain exploded in my skull, a bright white flash that left me seeing stars. But I was alive, and the walls, well, they didn't seem so eager to close in now. A ripple of shock ran through the room, followed by gasps and cries, the kind that usually make a guy want to run and hide. But there was no room for shame now. Migakori, what are you doing? My father's voice cut through, sharp and angry. He stepped toward me, reaching out a hand, but I jerked back out of his grasp. They're closing in on us, don't you see? My voice sounded foreign, like someone else was talking. These walls, they're coming to crush us. I have to stop them. For a second, no one moved. My father stood frozen, his hand still outstretched. My mother's face had gone ghostly white. But Hannah's expression was one of pure, unadulterated fear. And for a moment, that was enough to break through the fog. What am I doing? But then I felt it again, the walls pressing closer, inching toward us, and I was right back to square one. Without another thought, I charged the wall again, this time harder, letting all that panic, that fear and that wild determination pour into one brutal impact. The pain was worse this time, a crackle of agony that seemed to bounce around my skull. I staggered, my vision blurring, but through it all, I could still feel the walls pushing in. My father grabbed me, his grip iron strong, his face twisted with something between rage and desperation. "Son, you need to stop!" His voice was like a gunshot, snapping me to attention. But it wasn't enough. I tried to pull away, tried to explain that I had no choice. But he held firm, his eyes drilling into mine. "Migakuri, listen to me. The walls aren't moving. It's in your head, son. You need to stop before you hurt yourself." But he didn't get it. None of them did. I had to protect them. I had to stop these walls from crushing the life out of them. And if that meant tearing myself to shreds, so be it. I broke free from his grip, stumbling backward, blood dripping from my forehead. My mother sobbed, her voice barely audible, and that sound, more than anything, felt like knives cutting into me. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't. One more time. I just had to try one more time. I took a step back, wound up, and threw myself against the wall with every last bit of strength I had left. The impact was blinding, a lightning bolt of pain that sent me crashing to the ground. My vision wavered, the edges going dark. But as I lay there, gasping, I felt a strange sense of relief. The walls had stopped moving. They were staying back. I'd done it. I'd kept them safe. The last thing I saw before the darkness took me was Hana's face, tear-streaked and trembling, her hand reaching out for mine. And then, nothing. I woke up in a hospital bed, my head throbbing like a bass drum, the ceiling a blinding white that made my stomach churn. I blinked, the memories hazy, bits and pieces coming back in jagged fragments. The birthday, the walls, the looks on their faces. The nurse told me I'd been out for days, that my family had been taking turns by my side, waiting for me to wake up. And sure enough, when the door opened, there was Hana, her big, hopeful eyes locking onto mine as if I was some kind of miracle. She didn't say anything right away. She just walked up to the bed, a tiny, fragile figure in that sterile room, and took my hand. "They're not closing in on us, Migakuri," she whispered, her voice soft and full of something that broke my heart. "They never were." And for the first time, I believed her. Maybe, just maybe, the real enemy wasn't the walls, but the ones I'd built in my head. The ones that made me see danger where there was none, pushing me to hurt the people I'd do anything to protect. Looking at Hana, her hand warm in mine, I knew I had a second chance, a chance to tear down those walls, not with my head, but piece by piece, brick by brick, for her, and maybe in some way, for me.